I'm Gracie Moody from Wallace State Community College's Fast Track program. Tonight we're going to continue Treasure Island, which was adapted to a children's book but originally written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Tonight, let's read chapters 5 and 6. Chapter 5. The Last of the Blind Man. My curiosity was stronger than my fear, so I crept back up the bank and looked over it. I could see several men arriving at our inn, including the blind man. Soon, there came a shout from the inn. "Bill's dead!" "Search him, and the rest of you get the chest," the blind man cried from the street. Then, a man called out from an open window. "They've opened the chest. The money is still here." "And Flint's fist?" asked the blind man. "We don't see it." The men came back down to the street. "It's that boy!" cried the blind man. "Scatter and find him." Then there came the sound of a whistle from the hillside. "The signal," said one of them. "We'll have to hurry, mates." Another sound came from the top of the hill, the tramp of horses galloping. At the same time, a shot rang out from the bushes. The buccaneers scattered, running every which way. Only the blind man remained behind, tapping up and down the road in a frenzy, calling, "Johnny, Black Dog, Dirk, you won't leave your old blind mate, will you?" But they were all gone. Just then, 4 or 5 riders swept by at full gallop down the hill. At this, the blind man turned around, confused, and tried to dash to the side of the road. He was trampled under the hooves of the coming horses. The rider tried to save him in vain. The blind man was no more. I ran and hailed the riders. One was the boy who had gone from the village to Dr. Livesey's. The rest were officers of the law. We returned to the Admiral Benbow. The inn was ruined. They had smashed almost everything in the place. After I told the men what had happened, one of the officers said, "So they got the money, but they must have been looking for something else. More money, I suppose." "No," I replied. "I think they were looking for the papers I have here in my pocket." Knowing that the papers were valuable, and the pirates would surely return to our inn to ransack it some more, we decided to take them to Dr. Livesey's for safekeeping. Our decision made, we rode off into the night. Chapter 6. The Captain's Papers. We rode hard to Dr. Livesey's house, with the head officer leading the way. When we arrived, we found the doctor in his study with a squire whose name was Trelawney. The head officer, Mr. Dance, told the entire story. He was feeling terrible about running over the blind man. "You should not feel bad about that," said Squire Trelawney. "He was a scoundrel and would have made mischief for the entire town. Young Jim Hawkins here is brave and true." The squire then dismissed the officer and told him to get some rest. Afterward, the doctor said, "And so, Jim, you have the bundle of papers the pirates was after, do you?" I nodded and handed the papers to the doctor. "Squire," said the doctor, "you have heard of this Captain Flint, I suppose?" "Heard of him?" cried the squire. "He was the bloodthirstiest buccaneer that sailed. He was even worse than Blackbeard." "Well, I've heard of him myself," said the doctor. "Did he have money?" "Money?" cried the squire. "What were these villains after but money?" "That we will soon know," replied the doctor. "Suppose these papers show clues about where Flint buried his treasure?" "If we have clues," said the squire, "I'll take you and Hawkins here along, and we'll find that treasure." "Very well. If Jim agrees, we'll open them." I nodded, and Dr. Livesey carefully unpacked the bundle on a large table. It contained a book and a sealed paper. The book only contained some notes about fortunes stolen. My heart was racing as the doctor opened the sealed paper. It was a map of an island. On it was a place marked Spyglass Hill and directions to a place called Skeleton Island. There were 3 crosses of red ink, 2 on the north part of the island and 1 in the southwest. Most exciting of all, next to the last cross in the same red ink were the words, "Bulk of the treasure here." "Livesey," said the squire, "tomorrow I start for Bristol. In 3 weeks' time we'll have the best ship in England. Hawkins shall come as a cabin boy. You are ship's doctor. I am admiral. We'll take Redriff, Joyce, and Hunter. Squire, said the doctor, we'll wait to hear from you, and not one of us must breathe a word about this. I know you have a hard time keeping secrets, and that worries me. Livesey, pledged the squire. I'll be as silent as the grave. All right, hope you enjoyed. Come back and hear the rest of the story. Thank you. Bye.